What's up, you guys? It's Gabby, the Real Estate Bae, and today I'm excited because we get to talk about Section 8 real estate investing. So I'm going to give you the top tips that nobody is talking about when it comes to real estate investing and using the government program of Section 8. Let's get into it. If you are new here, my name is Gabby, the Real Estate Bae, and I help new and first-time investors find and fund profitable real estate. And I would say, y'all, about 50% of my clientele are Section 8 government landlords. And so I know a thing or two about Section 8 rentals. My very first property was a Section 8 rental that I was an investor of, and I have 75% of my portfolio is Section 8 investment properties. I have done a lot of things right, but I also have done a lot of things wrong. And so I want to share some of those things with you today so you can get to the money and skip the mistakes. So let's define what Section 8 is. Section 8 is actually a governmental clause. It's actually the Section 8 of a document or a law that was passed to help low-income families be able to afford real estate, be able to afford renting a property and living comfortably. Back in the day, depending on how old you are, in the 90s and even in the 80s, what we saw a lot in real estate infrastructure was the high-rise, what is called projects. So I'm from Chicago, so we would literally have big high-rise, what you would call project buildings. If you notice in America, those have pretty much been demolished. And the reason for that is because the government started to understand that those were big areas where crime and murder and all types of very horrible things would be happening. And so the government had to look at themselves and say, okay, let's demolish these things. And then we're going to allow investors to receive vouchers, Section 8 vouchers, to be paid by us, the government, to house these families all over America. And that's what happened. So that's a little history about the Section 8 program. So the Section 8 program is for low-income families. The thing that I want to highlight, though, is a lot of people give the Section 8 program a bad rap because they assume that low income is synonymous with bad. Make sense? Low income, when it comes to America, is actually synonymous with the size of your family. So, for example, I have talked to Section 8 tenants that live on the Section 8 program, and they are in their master's program, but they have 4 kids. So because she is a mom with 4 kids and her income is $37,000 a year, she is below, based on family size, the poverty line for America. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that Section 8 or government assistance is not synonymous with bad people or people that are trying to get over. I have met people in their bachelor's programs, their master's programs. I have met people that were working great jobs. I have met people that just needed the extra assistance, and that is what the assistance is for. So that's a little history and a little bit of nudge about the Section 8 program. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of the Section 8 program before I give you guys my tips, because I want you to know what this is. Again, Section 8 gets such a bad rap when it comes to real estate investing. And I just think it's because we don't do our due diligence. We expect the government to do everything for us, and then we place any old tenant. And there are good people on Section 8, and there are good people not on Section 8. There are bad people on Section 8, and there are bad people not on Section 8. I say that to say no matter the way you're getting paid, if it's Section 8 or cash, you could accidentally place a bad tenant. It is not synonymous with the Section 8 program. But here are the pros. My favorite thing about being a Section 8 landlord is that nobody, and hear me clearly, nobody gives pay increases like the U.S. government to a Section 8 landlord, okay? I'm gonna pop some videos or some pictures on the screen right here really quickly, showing you guys some of the pay increases that my own clients have experienced over the years. We're talking about where she was making $900 a month that now she's making $1,300. She was making $1,100 a month that now she's making $1,600 and $1,500. Gabby, what are you hinting towards? I'm hinting towards that in the Section 8 program, the number one reason why you should strongly consider this as a new investor is the pay increases happen with the program every 11 months. That means with one document, it is literally called the rental increase request document. You fill that out with your name and your address and how much you want the government to pay you more. And 99.9% of the time, you get a pay increase from the government by doing nothing to the asset. It is so easy, and it is leaps and bounds over what a cash tenant could pay you. You probably wouldn't go to your cash tenant that was paying you $1,500 and ask them in 11 months to pay you $2,000. You may not do that, because I work with people on this channel that have integrity and they understand that things are costly right now. But when it comes to the U.S. government, you may go ahead and send him in that rental increase form. And you may say, hey, Uncle Sam, you were paying me $1,500, but it's been 11 months. The new rate is $2,200 for me to host this American family that you're taking care of. You all, I want to emphasize that when you send that document in every 11 months, it will outpace the stock market. It will outpace your 401k. It will outpace your IRA. It will probably outpace Bitcoin, even though I know nothing about Bitcoin, okay? So it is a huge piece in making sure that you are incredibly profitable. The second pro of being a Section 8 landlord or holding a Section 8 voucher for a tenant is that you are paid on time every time. My other favorite thing about the U.S. government and being a government landlord is they don't never pay me late. Make sense? They are paying on time, okay? By the first or the third of the month, you have a payment in your checking account and you can move and groove. You're not getting an email or a text like, hey, friend, from the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Sam is not saying, my bad, I'm gonna be late, it's Christmas. Got me? So I want to drive home that if you are a busy professional, if you are a person that is a little skeptical about starting in real estate, I just gave you two huge things that should be buying down your fear. Number one, you can ask for a rental increase, which is a pay increase every 11 months. Number two, you are paid on time between the first and the third of every single month. Now, some of the cons with Section 8 program is I personally believe it's all noise. I actually believe it's propaganda. Okay. I actually don't see many cons, if any at all, with the Section 8 program. The one I will prepare you for that will feel a little clunky is the time that it takes to have your unit approved. Let me break this down. So in the event that you own the property at 123 Smith Street and you got a Section 8 tenant, which I'm going to show you how to get one in just a moment, you got a Section 8 tenant that wants to move in. It's January 1st. Typically, what you will find is it will take about 3 weeks before the government actually walks the asset. With the Section 8 program, the government goes out to the home, they look around, and they make sure that the home is livable and safe up to the government standards, and they do their own inspections outside of any inspections that you or your team have already done. That takes about 3 weeks. So your home is sitting vacant. You got a tenant that filled out your paperwork, and you've said yes, you have agreed to let them in your unit. However, you got to get on the government schedule. That's it. Once the government walks the property, you may experience what we call here a failed notice. And so that basically means, hey, Sue, we walked this property. It's good, but it ain't great. We want you to change out these 3 or 4 things. This just happened to me last week. They walked my property and I looked at the list of things that they wanted me to change out for my tenant who's getting ready to move in. And I would say it would cost me about $500. Now, if I can throw another con into the mix, while I am doing those things, Section 8 is actually going to back pay me for the time that my tenant was selected, but she was not in the unit. So is it a pro or is it a con? You got somebody not living in your unit yet, and you're still getting a check for it. You will get back paid for the most part from what we experience here in the St. Louis market. The other con that I want to probably highlight just to get you ready is just because you list your property and you say, hey, everybody, I am taking Section 8 folk. I want you to come live at my property at 123 Smith Street, sign here. Just because you say you want a Section 8 tenant doesn't mean you're going to get a Section 8 tenant. So it can kind of feel like, okay, I want to be a Section 8 landlord. I want to be a Section 8 landlord. You could find yourself waiting for many moons before a Section 8 person applies to live at your property. Let me give you an example. You put your property on Zillow, which allows you to screen tenants that want to live in your property. You get tenants that apply, or applicants, I should call them, that apply to live in the property. And all of the applicants that are applying are cash. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. The number of cash applicants that typically, depending on where you are, you will get will probably be 10x the amount of Section 8 applicants that you will get. Doing some things like these that I'm going to give you in a second could probably help your odds. When you think about that first picture on Zillow of your property, just put a filter over it. And on that filter, make it real big, standout text and standout colors that say Section 8 voucher, welcome here. If you're new and you're doing this on your own, you can also take that same property with the property link for them to apply, and you can blast that on the Facebook marketplace. okay? And inside of landlord groups on Facebook. Just some extra quick tidbits to help you find a Section 8 tenant if you're saying this is the route that I absolutely want to go. So now I want to talk to you all just a little bit about how to prep your property for a Section 8 tenant, because again, the Section 8 program will require its own walkthrough. Some of the things that Section 8 looks for is they want to make sure that all the windows work. Sometimes we paint those windows as old landlords or handyman, and they have to go up and down. So that's an easy thing to make sure each one of your windows go up and down. May sound silly, but you will fail an inspection. If there's a fire or something and your tenant can't get out, they will not approve you to be a government landlord. The other thing I would hint on when it comes to making sure your home is prepped for Section 8 is making sure all your systems work. You can't have any leaks. Your furnace has to work. Your AC has to work. If you have an AC, if you have a fan in the ceiling, you can't just think, okay, well, they don't have to use that. It has to work. If it's in the home, it has to work. If you have a dishwasher and you're Section 8 and you're like, well, I'm just going to make sure the tenant doesn't. No, the dishwasher has to work. Everything that is presented in the unit has to work. The doors actually even have to close all the way. So those little small things as you walk your property, I want you to think about it, walking it as if you are an inspector. What things are standing out to you that could potentially cause the government to say this home is not suitable for a family? All of the outlets are another thing that you want to make sure you have on your radar that need to work before your Section 8 tenant moves in. For the most part, you want to make sure the home is livable and safe, that it has been cleaned. I have seen people fail Section 8 inspections because the house is filthy. When you go to your windowsill and you go like this and look at your hands, is it dirty? Then it needs to be cleaned. So spend a Saturday or spend a half of a day if you're DIY in this. When you first begin, just wiping everything down in your property so that it is ready to go. The other thing I want to make sure you highlight is that I have seen people fail Section 8 inspections because the grass was too high. Maybe 2 weeks went by and you're like, oh, we forgot to cut the grass. Let me let the inspector in the home. They will fail you because the grass is too high. So you want to make sure that if you have a Section 8 inspection coming up or you're preparing for one, that you get there an hour before them or the day before to do a quick wipe down and a quick run through, making sure the home smells great and it's presentable with all the lights on so that that inspector can be in and out of the asset. Now let's talk about what you probably came here for, which is how do I find a tenant? Now, one of the things I already hinted towards is making sure your marketing speaks to Section 8. In the description of your rental property, you want to use words like Section 8, voucher, welcome, we can approve you in 3 days, making sure that urgency is there. And every single person that you think has a voucher, making sure that you call them and you do a phone screening with them and have a conversation about when they want to move, how much is their current voucher for, and if they are employed or not, because Section 8 people still have jobs most of the time. The other way I want you to add in how to find a tenant is using gosection8.com. You type it in, it's going to reroute you to a new site because they just bought a new site, but it's gosection8.com is an amazing place if you want to be a Section 8 landlord that your tenants actually from their caseworker, they are told to go look at properties on gosection8.com. They know as a tenant that every property that is on this website is accepting Section 8 vouchers. There's something else that I want to help you all with that may go without being said, but marketing photos is a game changer. I want you to just take a moment and go to gosection8.com and just scroll the photos and scroll all of the ones that are in your area. And I want you to think about ways to beat how it's marketed. Think about the language, think about the utilities that are included, the amenities like washer, dryer, refrigerator, and stove. You want to give that extra oomph of care and consideration when you're even marketing the property. It's no different than if you're marketing it for sale because you are technically selling it temporarily to someone to live in. The next tip I want to give you all for this video is how to determine rent. This is how we get paid. Okay, so the Go Section 8 website actually allows you, if you scroll to the very bottom, you're going to type in the city you live in, and then you're going to scroll to the bottom, and it's going to give you a calculator, but it's going to ask you type in your address. So if you own a property at 123 Smith Street in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, you're going to type in 123 Smith Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. At the very bottom, you're going to hit search, and at the very bottom of that page, it's going to actually show you where the rents are for the area. That is a pretty good indicator of where you can start listing your Section 8 properties on this Go Section 8 website. But you can also use the fair market rent calculator or fair market rent system. This is very easy to use. You can go to chatgpt.com and type in fair market rent and type in your area, and it will give you the actual calculator or the website so you can determine what the rent should be, making sure that they're on par for the government standard. The other thing I want to hit on to make sure you guys understand, if your unit could be rented out for $1,400, but you only ask the government, Section 8, for $1,100, they will only give you $1,100. So I always teach people that are starting off with the Section 8 program to ask for an exuberant amount, okay? Ask for $2,000 and then maybe they give you $1,100. If you guys want more information about exactly how to navigate that, let me know in the comments because I want to help you with that. And if you're learning anything, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We are trying to drop a video every single week for the rest of the year to help people start in this process. The very last piece that I want to give you all for Section 8 is how to negotiate with the government. Gabby, I did everything that you told me to do, but I wanted $1,200 or $1,500 and the government only gave me $1,000. That is very possible that they will give you less than what you actually need. One of the ways that you can negotiate right now in 2025 with the government is making sure that they understand every amenity that you provide for government tenants. Don't do away with taking your time and filling out the paperwork with accuracy. If you have a dishwasher, you need to put that. If it is a gated fence, a garage, a basement, if it's a washer, a dryer, a refrigerator, a stove, a microwave, all of those things may seem like small things that we use on a daily basis, so they may not seem like amenities to us, but the government actually gives us cash credit the more they see on your form that you have available for the tenants. In the event that they say, well, you wanted $1,500, we're going to give you $1,200. What you're going to do is ask to talk to a market estimator. You can either talk to them on the phone or negotiate your case via email, but it is important that you do everything that you can to talk to that person so that they can understand what value you're bringing to one of their tenants. All right, you all, that is the end of the video. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you liked anything, if you learned anything, make sure you subscribe so you can continue to learn with us, and leave a comment below so we can answer your questions about the Section 8 program. I hope you consider being a Section 8 landlord. It is one of the best things that have happened to me in real estate, and I want more people to consider this as an exit strategy for renting. All right, you all, have a good one.